In this video, we are going to show you some of the rare photos of Markie Post, while also sharing little-known facts about her life story. Markie Post as an actress was absolutely loved by everyone for her vibrant, quirky, and funny characters. But behind the scenes, when it came the time for her to get the one thing she'd always wanted for herself, everything went crazy bad. What exactly happened, and what was her surprising attitude toward the illness that finally took her life? Let's take a deep dive into her untold stories while showing you some of her rare photos. Markie Post was born Marjorie Armstrong Post on November 4th, 1950. She later changed her name to Markie Post, but the reason for doing that had nothing to do with her acting career or a stage name. She changed it simply because, as a child, her siblings could not properly pronounce her full name. Her father, Richard, was a remarkable physicist who worked on everything from nuclear fusion to plasma physics and even magnetic levitation. Equally impressive, her mother, Marilee, was a poet. She grew up in Walnut Creek, California, and attended Las Lomas High School, where she took up cheerleading. You may not know this about Markie, and you may not even believe it, but as a teenager, she did everything she could to be an outright rebel child. The pressure from her parents was immense. Whether they intended it or not, Markie felt it. Revealing in an interview once, she admitted that she wasn't as smart as her father, and she simply didn't possess the natural charm of her mother. So Markie said, "I decided to be bad, but it's probably no surprise to anyone that she failed at it, and miserably so. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't drink, couldn't smoke, and didn't have sex. I flunked at being a rebel." Her pure girl image didn't exactly make life easy for Markie. As a freshman in college, she was voted the biggest snob on campus. It nearly broke her, and she cried for days on end. Hoping to follow in her father's footsteps, she studied physics in college, but she couldn't cut it and eventually dropped out. She then pursued acting and earned a Bachelor's of Arts. During her time in drama school, she met and fell in love with fellow student Stephen Knox. She described him as charismatic and cynical, and she absolutely loved that about him. When it comes to the new lovebirds, it's true what they say: opposites attract. Their relationship was one of pure passion. Before Stephen, Markie had never had a sexual experience of any kind. "I was Snow White, and he was James Dean," she would later say. The two got married in 1971 when she was just 21. But their romance wasn't to be anything like the American dream. Less than a year after they tied the knot, the couple severed ties. After college, Markie landed in showbiz, but behind the scenes. She worked for game shows like The Price is Right, Family Feud, and Split Second. By all accounts, she had a big start early in her career. She even rubbed shoulders with game show greats like Alex Trebek, acting as associate producer on his show, Double Dare. In 1978, she found herself in front of the cameras, dealing cards on the game show Card Sharks. Her natural talent and beauty did not go unnoticed, and Markie realized that she actually enjoyed it. Once finally in front of the cameras instead of behind them, she quickly made a name for herself, first with a small role in her first film, Frankie and Annette, the second time around. Then followed a string of guest appearances in numerous popular TV series between 1979 and 1981. These included Chips, Barnaby Jones, The Incredible Hulk, Heart to Heart, House Calls, 8 is Enough, The Greatest American Hero, and McLean's Law, just to name a few. She nearly got a big break in 1981, landing a substantial role alongside David Hasselhoff in the TV series Semi-Tough. It was a spin-off show based on the movie of the same name that starred Burt Reynolds. On paper, the show had all the makings to be a hit, but it simply wasn't, and it aired only 4 episodes. In early 1982, Markie married writer and producer Michael A. Ross. The couple had met in 1980 in an acting class. But it wasn't love at first sight, not at all. In fact, Markie didn't like Michael and thought he was a huge phony. But as it turned out, they were soulmates and remained madly in love until the day she died. The couple would later welcome 2 daughters, Kate Armstrong in 1987 and Daisy in 1990. In 1982, Markie did get her big break. She landed her first recurring role in a popular series when she joined the cast of The Fall Guy in its 2nd season. She played the role of Terry Shannon, a bail bondswoman. In the leading role was the brilliant Lee Majors, who had by then already achieved massive success as an actor and was a household name across the world. The show centered around Lee's character, Colt Seavers, who was a Hollywood stuntman, but also a bounty hunter who used his skills and knowledge as a stuntman to hunt down the bad guys. Even though this was a big break for her, she hated the role. She felt completely irrelevant, like a shadow on the wall. "I felt like a typewriter more than an actor," Markie revealed in an interview. It wasn't only in her character that she felt like a shadow on the wall. She also felt like an outsider when it came to her co-stars. Playing the leading lady opposite Lee Majors was Heather Thomas. At the time, she was struggling severely with addiction. It got so bad that her parents and loved ones held an intervention for her. Even though Markie had a 3-year run on the show, she was so out of the loop that she had no idea about Heather's addiction problems. No one on the cast or production crew really shared anything with her. It was an awful experience for Markie. In her own words, she said she felt like nothing. She felt like a zero. During the same time she was doing The Fall Guy, she also appeared in numerous other small roles, but for largely major shows. Even if it was just 1 or 2 episodes at a time, it boosted her career. Popular shows included Code Red, Matt Houston, The Love Boat, Cheers, Fantasy Island, Glitter, and The A-Team. Suddenly, Markie Post's face was everywhere, all at once. She was fast heading for fame and stardom. Her biggest breakthrough yet came in 1984 when she joined Night Court in a regular leading role as Christine Sullivan. Her character was caught in a never-ending love triangle between herself and 2 of the show's other main characters. She was continually pursued by Dan Fielding, played by John Larroquette. Fans, however, all wanted her to end up with Judge Harry, who was played by Harry Anderson. Even Markie herself later revealed that Christine and Harry were the perfect match. And here's where it got really crazy. Harry and Christine did end up together and even almost got married. Just not on the show itself, but instead on a hilarious episode of 30 Rock. In 30 Rock, the character Kenneth Parcell, played by Jack McBrayer, was one of those fans who wanted Harry and Christine to hook up. In an effort to cheer Kenneth up, his co-worker in the show, Tracy, played by Tracy Morgan, has a master plan. He invites Markie Post and Harry Anderson as themselves to come to 30 Rock and reprise their roles as Judge Harry and Christine Sullivan. And why? So that their Night Court characters can finally get hitched. The 30 Rock crew even builds a complete set to exactly match the original Night Court set from almost 3 decades ago. But neither fans nor the crew of 30 Rock get to see the wedding happen. As part of the show, Harry and Markie have a big fight during rehearsals, and it all goes downhill from there, so the wedding never happens. Here's some more fun trivia for you about Night Court. Markie's husband also appeared in 1 episode of the show. He played a druggy rock and roll singer. He'd only had a few brief acting parts before, and Markie was more nervous than Michael, especially since her co-stars were messing around with him and trying to throw him off his game. Eventually, it was Markie who had to be taken aside and calmed down. When she finally regained her own sense of self and her sense of humor, the scenes were shot and Michael did a brilliant job. Even though in real life, Markie was an absolute bombshell and sex symbol, her sexiness was drastically downplayed by her character's appearance. Christine wore unflattering suits and had a quirky, sometimes dim-witted attitude that hid her sexiness. But in real life, young boys had Markie's swimsuit posters pinned to their walls. As the saying goes, girls wanted to be her, and men wanted to be with her. Even with all the public craze about her beauty, Markie never believed that she was the sex symbol that she was portrayed as in the media. Speaking about her looks, she once said in an interview, "I'm no sexual siren. I see prettier girls than me in the grocery store every day." Markie's natural good girl nature was reflected in many of her roles. It's no far stretch to say she was often typecast, and not based on her previous roles or characters, but rather based on who she was as a person. In real life, she was sweet and innocent, and she once admitted it herself. "I'm always following the rules. I'm always the one who's the voice of reason." A wonderful, caring, and loving mother to her 2 daughters in real life, Markie was often offered roles to play a mom on screen as well. Her natural maternal instincts, of course, shone through perfectly on the screen. But it took a stab at Markie on a personal level. She wanted to be taken seriously as an actress and wanted more serious roles. She had to fight hard for Hollywood to see her differently, and not only Hollywood producers, but also her fans. Around 1992, she finally got that break she was looking for when she landed the role of leading lady in Hearts of Fire. Markie loved the scripts and she loved the character she played, describing the show as the best thing she'd ever done up until that time. She played the role of Georgie Ann, a down-on-her-luck chain-smoking journalist, an independent woman who traveled the world, a woman who held her own strong views and opinions. Opposite her in the leading role was the legendary John Ritter. He played John Hartman, a senator's aide. The show was a satire and had strong political orientations, with the main characters constantly butting heads, but they eventually fell in love. Other famous co-stars included Billy Bob Thornton and the amazing Ed Asner. It was so different from her usual roles, and she absolutely loved the experience. Even film critics wrote that she had finally discovered herself as an actress, but it was not to last. The show underwent drastic changes in the second season and was dramatically toned down to keep it as innocent and pure as possible, but it was never the same after that. From there on out, Markie had acting roles pretty much every year without a break, both in film and TV series. Most notable was probably her role in the hit comedy film Something About Mary. Markie also appeared in 18 episodes of Chicago PD as Barbara Bunny Fletcher. Towards the end of her career, Markie was hiding a sad and heartbreaking secret from the world. She had been diagnosed with cancer. Even while privately battling the illness and undergoing chemotherapy and treatments, she continued to work. She insisted that she wanted to keep acting as a side job. It was this drive to keep acting and working that showed her true strength not only as an actress, but as a human being. During her cancer battle, she appeared in the Lifetime Christmas film 4 Christmases and a Wedding, where she played Anna Taylor. She was also seen as Helen Portalo in 4 episodes of the series The Kids Are All Right and the TV movie Christmas Reservations, playing Tay Griffin. Her final credit would be for 1 episode in a series called Soundtrack, where she simply played Johanna's mom. One can't help but feel the sad irony in that, given how she had worked so hard to establish herself. 3 years and 10 months after her diagnosis, Markie lost her fight with cancer. She passed away on August 7, 2021. In a moving tribute, her family remembered her not as the larger-than-life TV and film star, but as a loving wife and mother, a person who baked magical cakes for her friends and who loved crafts and arts and sewing. They remembered her as the person who showed us how to be kind, loving, and forgiving in an often harsh world. If you enjoyed this video, there's a good chance you'll also enjoy the one showing on your screen right now. Click, enjoy, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you on the next one.